Man, I was about to go on the damn tollway, man. I almost made a wrong turn. I got to turn back around. Man, I got to turn back around. Either on this show or the other show, part 1 and 2 of this show, I'm interviewing, well, I'm about to go interview, or you may have seen the interview already, Cy Smith. He wants to be Mayor Gary, and this is where you're going to work at. Mayor Gary. Now, I told him you can win, but you got to run a traditional campaign. He's running a non-traditional campaign, which is cool. But the point is that in Gary, they really need to take a chance on vote. I mean, Karen Freeman seemed like a really nice lady, nice woman, nice mayor. I don't have a problem. Oh, that's Gary. That's your Gary. Herbert Gary. Oh, you can't see it bad. I should have stopped. That's the Genesis Convention Center. Karen Freeman, the current mayor, seems to be very, 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 very nice. But they really should take a chance on voting a non-politician or something different. That's what I want to talk to Mr. Smith about. Voting for somebody different, something different. Yeah, downtown. Y'all need to come. Come on to downtown Gary. Come on, see what's going on. Demographics, demographics is destiny. I don't know who said it. Demographics is destiny, something like that. It's a famous quote. Demographics is everything, people. Not everything, but you know what I'm saying. Demographics. Look it up. There's an old Chinese proverb that says something like, if you want prosperity for 100 years, you have to grow people. And that's the short version. You want prosperity for 100 years, you have to grow people. That's the short version of the Chinese proverb. And that's something politicians don't do. They hoodwink people. They bamboozle people. Most politicians I ever met are full of crap. That's why over all the years, over the almost 25 years I've done this show, I rarely have had politicians on the show. I can count maybe 1 or 2. I think Danny K. Davis and Alderman Brooks are the only sitting politicians I've ever had on the show. Because most of them are full of crap. I mean, totally full of crap. I mean, they're so distasteful because they got to run game on the people. And that's so distasteful. So when I'm saying that the politicians don't grow people, that's not in their DNA. At least most politicians. And you grow people by basically, like Gary, here you go. You explain to young people, delay having children. Delay having children. At least you're 25 or 30. At least. Then once you have them, have a plan. Make sure they can read and write before they go to kindergarten. And then you got to have some values and structure for these children. Don't let them run around a damn street and they'll be fine. You let your children run around a damn street and be influenced by knuckleheads, it's not going to be good. So what I mean by growing people, the preachers and politicians and potentates who hoodwink the masses, that's why the black community is so messed up. They simply telling black folks to pull their pennies, nickels, and dimes. We got money, we just spend it. We spend it recklessly, spend it crazily. We don't pool our resources. We don't invest our money. We spend it crazy because we're buying our love. I get it. We've been despised and rejected, so we're buying our love. And it doesn't matter if you make 10 grand a year or 10 grand a month, 120 grand a year. You got to save and invest your money. Pool your resources. People are your greatest resources. Believe me. Tony Robbins said that, the motivational guy. People are your greatest resources. So the key is that you're trying to develop children who can read and write at grade level. Teach them to be college ready if that's what they want to do. Only 30% of people got a college degree. Teach children to be college ready if that's what they want to do. And if they don't want to go to college, fine. They got to go to junior college or some form of post-secondary education. Come on. And then you make sure if they don't want to do that, they got to be trained to do something. Carpenter, electrician, plumber, heating and cooling professional, mechanic. You don't let your child run and just sit at home and do nothing. They going to school, they going to work, or they going to the military. See, black boys, we need a movement. If you don't have money, you gotta have a movement. If you got movement and money, you're on. But we gotta preach to these black boys and these mamas and grandmamas and these AWOL daddies who went AWOL for a lot of different reasons. That you teach your boys from Jump Street, you are going to college or some other post-secondary education after high school. If you don't want to do that, you're going to the military, or you're going to have to work some cashier job, a fast food job, blah, 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 but you're going to work. You're going to school or you're going to the military. this has to be preached over and over again. You black boys who are going to grow up to be teenagers and men, you are going to school, post-secondary school, education after high school. You're going straight to work, if that's what you want to do, or you're going to the military. But you're not going to hang around the damn house and do nothing. It's not going to happen. Oh, Mom, I got to hustle. I got to hustle, Mama. No! Here's a sign to go to Detroit, y'all. I think I'm going to Detroit next year. If things work out. Detroit. I'm about to interview Mr. Smith, go to Mr. Smith's campaign office. So let's review. I don't care if you're in Gary, Detroit, a city of Atlanta, whatever. You know, the city of Atlanta and the city of New Orleans have the highest income gaps. City of Atlanta, city of New Orleans, because there's a lot of black folks, and that's what. And a lot of the whole South has the highest. The South has the highest income gaps, mobility gaps, and whatnot. And because that's where the slaves were. That's where the descendants of the slaves live, in the South. Well, it doesn't matter if you're north or south, because Malcolm X said everything south of the Canadian border is the South. Malcolm X said everything south of the Canadian border is the South. Look at this. Here's a college right here. Indiana University Northwest. IU Northwest, right here in Gary. I wonder how many young men are being prepared to go to this college right here. See, the educators and the research, this is the college here. The educators and the researchers would tell you that most of the education gap, and a lot of it pertains to African Americans, the education gap is not due to teachers, actually. That's what the research says. Only 7%. It's really that what goes on in that home. That mama, that grandmama, that daddy. The neighborhood, the culture of the neighborhood. If you're destabilized, it ain't happening. Okay, Mr. Smith has called me. Damn, where my phone? Mr. Smith has called me. Okay, let me get over to see Mr. Smith. Okay, let's review. Make sure these boys, you preach to these boys from birth. You're going to school, you're going to get an education. You're going to the military after high school, or you're going to go to post-secondary education, or you're going to go to work. Military, work, post-secondary education. The military, you're going to work, or some other post-secondary education. You're not going to sit around the damn house and do nothing. If you are, you're going to volunteer. If you ain't got a job, you volunteer. You don't sit around the house and do nothing. If you don't have a damn job, you volunteer. Stop the crime. Improve Gary. Improve all black neighborhoods. Get these boys to work. If they ain't got a job, they got to volunteer. God damn. And I said God damn. The show is over. Live from Gary, Indiana. Well, live on tape. So the show is over. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. There's a lot of cool things in Gary. Got the college over here. They got the golf course over here. There's a lot of great things in Gary. So hopefully Gary will stop being scary Gary, and people will move to Gary to get a tax base, and the town will flourish. But like I said earlier, if you saw some of the other show, I don't know if you're watching part 1 or part 2. These young men, young black men, we have to help them. Get an education, get a skill, or go to work, go to military. Young black men cannot lay around the house and do nothing. You have to volunteer. If you don't have a job, you volunteer, you go to work, you go to college, go to some post-secondary education, you go to the military, you don't hang out in the street. It's that simple. Let me say it again. Clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools. Stop the crime. Young black men. I used to be a young black man. I'm telling you, Gary's nice. Clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools.